The impossible math of working motherhood. The email came at 4:47 p.m. on a Wednesday. Team meeting tomorrow at 9 a.m. Mandatory, please review attached documents before. I was in the school parking lot waiting for Ria's after-school program to end. I clicked on the attachment. 43 slides, dense, technical, the kind of thing that would take at least 2 hours to review properly. Ria had a project due Friday that we hadn't started. Liam had karate at 6 p.m. No, wait, I'd cancelled karate weeks ago. Was tonight the night I'd promised to help him build that Lego set, or was that tomorrow? I opened my calendar. It was a mess of colour-coded blocks that didn't actually reflect reality. Half the appointments were things I'd meant to do but never did. The other half were things that happened whether I planned for them or not. I had no idea when I'd find 2 hours to review 43 slides. I used to think work-life balance was achievable, that it was just a matter of organisation, boundaries, time management. I bought planners. I tried time blocking. I read articles about efficiency hacks and productivity tips for working moms. None of it worked. Because the math doesn't work. There are 24 hours in a day. 8 for work supposedly, though it's never actually 8. 8 for sleep, though I average about 6. That leaves 8 hours for getting kids ready for school, drop-off, pick-up, homework help, dinner, baths, bedtime routines, cleaning, laundry, grocery shopping, appointments, and somehow also being a present, engaged parent who does enriching activities and doesn't just park them in front of screens. 8 hours for about 16 hours of tasks. The math doesn't work. That night, I stayed up until 1 a.m. reviewing the slides. The next morning, I woke up exhausted, got the kids ready for school in a fog, dropped them off, snapped at Liam when he was moving too slowly, forgot to put Ria's water bottle in her backpack. Made it to the 9 a.m. meeting 5 minutes late, hair still wet, coffee spilled on my shirt. Sorry, I mumbled, logging in. Technical difficulties. The meeting lasted 2 hours. I contributed nothing meaningful, just nodded at appropriate times, hoping no one would ask me a direct question. By the time it ended, I had 17 new emails, 3 Slack messages marked urgent, and a text from Chris asking if I could pick up the kids early because he had a conflict. I couldn't, I had another meeting at 2:30. He'd have to figure it out. There's a specific kind of guilt that comes with working motherhood that I don't think anyone talks about enough. It's not just missing school events or PTA meetings or having to say no when your kid asks to go to the park. It's bigger than that. It's the guilt of being physically present but mentally absent, of sitting at the dinner table thinking about a work email, of half listening to Liam's story about recess while composing a Slack response in your head, of tucking them in at night and then immediately opening your laptop. It's the guilt of resenting your job but needing it, of fantasizing about quitting but knowing you can't because someone has to pay for health insurance and therapy and the mortgage. It's the guilt of not being enough at work because you're thinking about your kids, and not being enough for your kids because you're thinking about work. You're split in half and both halves are failing. Last month, Ria had a school performance, a little concert where her class would sing 3 songs. She'd been practicing for weeks. "You're coming, right?" she asked me every day for a week leading up to it. Of course, I said, I wouldn't miss it. The morning of the performance, my boss scheduled an emergency client call, same time as the concert. "I can't do that time," I said, "I have a conflict." "It's the only time that works for the client. It's important." Everything was always important. Everything was always urgent. Everything was always the only time that works. I tried to reschedule. The client wouldn't budge. My boss made it clear this wasn't optional. I called Chris. He couldn't leave work either, called my mother-in-law. She was out of town, called the friend who sometimes helped with pickup. She had her own kids thing. I sat in my car in the work parking lot and cried. Then I went inside and took the call. That afternoon when I picked Ria up from school, she didn't say anything, just got in the car quiet. "I'm so sorry, sweetie." "It's okay." "It's not okay, I wanted to be there." "I know, it's fine." That word again, fine. "Did you have fun?" "I guess." Chris had tried to record it on his phone during his lunch break, sneaking into the back of the multipurpose room for 10 minutes before he had to leave. The video was shaky and you could barely see Ria in the back row, but she was there, singing without me. I watched it that night, after the kids were asleep, and cried again. The worst part is that I can't even say I love my job. I'm good at it, good enough anyway, but I don't love it. I don't wake up excited about it. I don't feel fulfilled or passionate or like I'm making a difference. If I loved it, maybe the sacrifice would feel worth it. Maybe I could tell myself, I'm modeling strong work ethic for my kids. I'm showing them that women can have careers. I'm teaching them the value of hard work. But I'm not doing any of that. I'm just surviving, going through the motions, collecting a paycheck that feels simultaneously essential and insufficient. I'm sacrificing time with my kids for a job I hate, and I can't stop because we need the money. The guilt of that is crushing. Last week, I tried to explain this to another mom at school. I just feel like I'm failing at everything, I said. I'm not present enough at work, I'm not present enough at home, I'm letting everyone down. Have you thought about going part-time? She asked. I wanted to laugh or scream. Part-time means part-time pay, part-time means no benefits, part-time means the same amount of work crammed into fewer hours with less money. We can't afford it, I said. What about staying home for a while? My sister did that and she loves it. Right, stay home. On what money? With what healthcare? What happens to my career? What happens when I need to go back and I've been out of the workforce for 3 years? She meant well, they all mean well, but the advice always assumes resources I don't have. There's a quote I see on Instagram sometimes, you can have it all, just not all at once. I hate that quote. Because it's a lie, you can't have it all, not even in pieces, not even spread out over time. There are trade-offs, always, constantly. Work more, see your kids less. Be present for your kids, fall behind at work. Focus on one kid, neglect the other. Take care of yourself, feel guilty for being selfish. Take care of everyone else, burn out completely. The math doesn't work. There's no equation that balances. But last Tuesday I did something different. I left work at 4 p.m. Just left. I had things to do, emails to answer, a project due. I left anyway. I picked the kids up early from after school, took them to get ice cream. We sat at a picnic table and they told me about their day and I actually listened. Not half listened while composing emails in my head, really listened. Liam told me about a joke his friend told at lunch. Ria showed me a drawing she'd made in art class. We watched the ducks at the pond. We stayed until the ice cream was gone and the sun was getting low. That night I worked after they went to bed. I was up until midnight finishing what I'd left undone. Was it worth it? I don't know. The project still got done. The kids got an afternoon that wasn't rushed. I was exhausted. But Liam said, "This was fun, Mom. We should do this more." And Ria hugged me extra long at bedtime. So maybe it was worth it. I don't have answers about work-life balance. I don't know how to do it all. I don't know how to be present at work and present at home and present for myself. I don't know how to stop feeling guilty about the things I'm not doing while I'm doing the things I am doing. What I'm learning slowly, painfully, is that I have to make choices, every day, sometimes every hour. Sometimes I choose work because we need the money and I need to keep my job. Sometimes I choose the kids because childhood is short and they'll remember the moments I showed up. Sometimes I choose myself because if I don't, I'll have nothing left to give anyone. None of these choices feel good, all of them come with guilt. But maybe that's just how it is. Maybe working motherhood isn't about finding balance. Maybe it's about accepting that you can't do everything, choosing what matters most in each moment, and trying to forgive yourself for what falls through the cracks. Maybe good enough is the best any of us can do. Yesterday, Ria asked me if I have to work. Yes, I said, we need the money for our house and food and everything we need. Oh, she thought about this. Do you like your job? I paused. I've been teaching them to be honest about feelings, to not say fine when things aren't fine. Not really, I admitted, but sometimes we do things we don't love because they take care of our family. That's sad. Sometimes, but you know what's not sad? Coming home to you and your brother. She smiled, then, can we get ice cream again sometime? Yes, soon. And I meant it, even if it meant working until midnight. even if it meant falling behind, even if it meant choosing just for an afternoon to let something at work slip so something at home could matter. The math still doesn't work. But I'm learning to choose anyway.